The voice that echoed through the courtroom wasn't the confident, flamboyant prince the world knew. It was quiet, low, uneasy. "I'm making this recording because I don't know who I can trust anymore," Prince began. The tone sent chills down the spines of everyone listening. This wasn't a performance, it was a confession. In the recording, Prince said he'd attended private parties hosted by Diddy at properties in Miami, the Hamptons, and Los Angeles. He described what he saw in unsettling detail: young artists being separated from their handlers, encouraged to drink and take pills, private rooms with locked doors, cameras hidden in fixtures, no security personnel allowed inside. The exact same pattern Cassie Ventura described during her first 2 days on the stand. Prince wasn't vague. He named names. He mentioned specific dates, including a December 2015 party in Beverly Hills. And he described behavior that matched earlier witness testimony almost word for word. But what made this different, what made the courtroom shift from disbelief to alarm, was that Prince was speaking with full knowledge of what he was doing. "If something happens to me," he said, "this recording needs to go to the press or the police, either one." As Prince's voice played, Diddy's body language changed entirely. His eyes narrowed, his mouth twitched. He stopped whispering to his lawyers. He leaned forward, hunched slightly. His face was pale. Jurors began watching him as closely as they listened to the tape. Then Prince said something that broke the room. "These aren't just parties. They're traps." The silence was so complete, you could hear Prince breathing between words. In the back row, a woman visibly cried. In the front row, a reporter dropped her pen. Diddy's attorney placed a hand on his client's arm, trying to calm him. Diddy pulled away. Prince continued, explaining that he had warned Diddy about what he saw, that he approached him during an after-party in 2016 and told him the manipulation of young artists and guests had to stop. Prince claimed Diddy laughed and told him, "You might be Prince, but you're not untouchable." That line hit the courtroom like a gunshot. Diddy's lips moved. He whispered something to his team. One of his attorneys grabbed a yellow legal pad and began writing furiously. Another turned to look at the judge, as if waiting for permission to object. But there was nothing to object to. The damage was being done in real time. Just when the courtroom seemed at its most tense, when Prince's calm but damning words continued with relentless detail, Diddy snapped. The tape had moved on to describe another party, this one from March 2016, involving multiple celebrities and one disturbing incident upstairs. As Prince named the address, a location already referenced by the prosecution's forensic timeline, Diddy couldn't take it anymore. "That's a lie!" he shouted, standing suddenly. His voice echoed off the courtroom walls, startling even the bailiffs. The reaction was instant. Security rushed forward. His lawyers stood and tried to pull him back into his seat. One attorney hissed, "Sit down!" But Diddy's voice rose again. "He wasn't even there! That never happened!" The judge slammed his gavel down repeatedly. "Mr. Combs, control yourself, or I will hold you in contempt." The courtroom was now in full meltdown. Jurors exchanged shocked glances. Two looked visibly disturbed. A court sketch artist later told reporters that she had to erase and redraw Diddy's face 3 times. His expression changed so violently during the outburst. The judge restored order and instructed the prosecution to pause the tape. Diddy's breathing was labored. His hands trembled on the defense table. His pristine image, the billionaire mogul, the unbothered icon, was gone. And in its place sat a man, visibly panicked, cornered, and crumbling in front of a jury. For the prosecution, this was no accident. Court insiders later confirmed what many suspected. They'd timed this tape deliberately. After days of slow build-up, small testimonies, and methodical cross-examinations, they chose this moment, day 3, because they believed it would be when Diddy's guard was finally down. And it worked. He showed the jury everything they needed to see. Rage, guilt, loss of control, all without anyone cross-examining him. And Prince's voice hadn't even finished. After a brief recess to regain control of the courtroom, the judge instructed the prosecution to resume playback of the Prince audio. But by then, the atmosphere had completely changed. No one whispered. No one typed. Even the court sketch artist had stopped drawing. All eyes were locked on the courtroom speakers. The voice of a dead man now controlled the most powerful room in entertainment law. Prince's voice picked up where it left off, with him describing what he called an organized system of manipulation that he had seen firsthand. He spoke slowly, choosing his words like a man who knew what he was saying might never be heard again unless the worst happened. "What I've seen. It's not something you can just forget," he said. "They make it seem glamorous, but I've watched it ruin people." He referenced parties hosted at Diddy's private residences. Again, not just vague recollections, but exact details. Layouts of rooms, names of guests, even the color of the furniture in certain lounges. It all lined up with earlier testimonies from Cassie Ventura and 2 other unnamed witnesses. Most chilling, however, were Prince's references to NDAS and hush payments. "I've seen the contracts," Prince said in the recording. "I've seen the money change hands. $2 million here, $1.5 million there, and I've seen what happens to the people who try to leave. They disappear, not physically, but musically, socially. Gone." Diddy, still seated but visibly shaking, stared straight ahead with a blank expression. His eyes didn't blink for nearly a minute, according to a court reporter seated behind him. One of his lawyers quietly passed him a folded tissue. He didn't take it. Then Prince dropped another bomb. "I warned him at the Grammy after-party," he said, referring to Diddy. "I told him, flat out, this is going to catch up to you. He told me, you might be Prince, but I own this game, and people like you don't change it. They get erased." That line reverberated through the room like thunder. Diddy didn't react outwardly, but his jaw tensed. A juror in the front row shook her head. Another leaned back, stunned. This wasn't just a piece of evidence anymore. It was a character assassination with surgical precision. From someone with no reason to lie, no stake in the trial, and no possibility of being cross-examined. Prince, from beyond the grave, was painting a portrait of Diddy not as a flawed man, but as a manipulative predator with a carefully crafted empire of silence and control. And the prosecution wasn't even finished with the tape. If you've ever watched a trial fall apart in real time, this was the moment. The prosecution had built a slow-burning fire, with Cassie Ventura's 4 days of testimony, threading together years of abuse, manipulation, and secrets. But now, through the voice of Prince, they had poured gasoline on it. Prince began explaining his own fears. "I didn't speak out during my life," he said, "because I saw what happened to people who did. I watched them lose their contracts, get dropped from tours, shut out of award shows. It's not just about power. It's about fear. Fear keeps everyone quiet." He detailed a moment at one of Diddy's events where he believed a guest was being secretly recorded. "I saw cameras in the chandelier," Prince said. "I mentioned it to a producer who shrugged and said, 'That's just how it is.' The implication? Blackmail. Surveillance. Control not just through money, but through secrets." It matched stories that had surfaced years ago, rumors of footage Diddy kept for leverage. None of it ever confirmed. Until now. Prince didn't speculate. He documented. "I've got files," he said. "Hard drives, tapes, photographs, all dated, all organized. I gave copies to 3 people. If anything happens to me, check with them." This was no longer just a recording. This was a whistleblower's blueprint. And it explained why Diddy had lost control earlier in the day. He likely knew what else might be out there. He likely recognized details that only someone inside his inner circle could have known. The precision of the tape, Its alignment with the prosecution's existing timeline was too perfect to ignore. As the recording neared its conclusion, Prince said something that may haunt this trial forever. "I've spent my life trying to protect my music, but now I realize it's the people who needed protection. And no one was doing it. Not really. Not when it mattered." The recording clicked off. Silence. The courtroom stayed frozen. And then, the prosecutor delivered her line. "No further questions, Your Honor." She didn't have to say anything else. Prince had done the heavy lifting. From the grave.